the problems a person has are structured in his body. And the basic problems he has is that he's afraid to come alive and have feelings fully. That's a basic problem. For good reason, but the fact is that's a basic problem.
Usually as children they were reprimanded or rejected whenever they showed their emotions.
That's right. Oh, even punished. So they get a little wild, they were beaten, you know, all kinds of terrible things happening. So they had to learn to cut off feelings.
Right.
And the only way you cut off feelings is to deaden your body. That's the only way you can cut off feelings. Dead bodies don't feel.
Yeah.
But getting back the feelings, when people are so frightened of feeling, is a long, hard road, but it's a worthwhile road. And see, the problem that we have is that the culture is not a body culture.
Absolutely.
It's a head-end oriented culture.
More
and more, emphasizing thinking and power and not feeling. Feeling is the last thing that enters the picture of modern life. When you lose contact with your body, you enter a little bit of an insane world. That's what insanity is. You become unreal and you don't feel yourself in a human way. And you see a lot of that going on around here. And I'm afraid that's going to get worse. But you know, if you're going to help people, you've got to first look at yourself and find out how you can deal with the problems you've had from your childhood.
Right.
And when you can do that, it's not a quick job, but when you do that, you open your heart and your mind and your body to the real understanding of life.
And what people, I think, so often miss in our talking about this, with that comes real pleasure.
Joy even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because real pleasure is a body awareness,
yeah, body
feeling of aliveness.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So here you've got, everybody's worried about health, you know, these days, and I think they're right to worry. Because they're not healthy. People are sick out there. Their bodies are grotesque. So let me say this, that a healthy person is really characterized by a body that's alive and vital.
Right.
Eyes that shine,
right.
A voice that's resonant, a manner that's soft, a sense of grace, a carriage that's dignified, and not dominated by his ego, with a sense of humility when he talks about things. So I have to find that in myself, and if I find it in myself, I try to share it with my patients and help them reach it. It's a long road, Frank.
Years and years. And every step's worth it. Because I remember you said years ago, it's like a gold mine may take years to get the gold out, but every little bit you get, you've got something.
I mean, your body is who you are.
Yeah.
And the more you're in touch with the body, the more you're in touch with yourself.
I remember those three statements you used to say, you know, self-awareness, self-expression, then comes self-possession.
Right.
And I feel that's so true. We have to feel where we are to be aware of our feelings, and it takes some time to even get aware of our feelings.
Or that you haven't got any feelings.
Or haven't got any.
To work on it. Yeah. Well, I had a patient today who, well, yesterday she came in and she said she was lost. She felt lost. Well, of course, she wasn't lost in a, what you might call practical sense. I mean, she knew where she was.
Yeah.
She could tell you her name. She wasn't crazy or anything like that. But she didn't feel herself.
Right.
And in a sense of the feeling of the self, she was a lost person. Yeah. And you can't do that by talking about it. You have to feel it.
You have to begin to feel it.
Yeah. So feeling is where bioenergetics is at.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, feeling is not where the world is at right now.
And usually the development of feeling has to come, as you said, from the body. And I know through movement and sound and energy, through the aliveness of the body, do we get the feeling.
Well, what feeling is, it's a very simple thing, is you feel your body. And for you to feel your body has to move, because it...
Right.
Now, as an analyst, Reich sat behind the patient, which is the standard position for the analyst, And the person, the subject, was just to talk, free associate, say whatever comes into your mind. And the rule is don't hold anything back. So Reich's sitting there, and this patient is talking. All of a sudden, the patient stops short in the middle of a sentence. And Reich looked at the patient, and the traditional psychoanalytic approach to this problem is to tell the patient, continue talking because you're blocking, which is true. But Reich looked at the patient, noticed he wasn't breathing. You know, he was talking, suddenly he went like that, as if he was going to say something that would be very disturbing to him, and he caught himself. And you catch yourself by stopping to breathe, see? So without a breath, you don't continue, etc. And Reich said to him, you're not breathing. Breathe. And the patient started to breathe and started to cry, and all kinds of feelings broke out. And Reich said, you know the way people block their feelings and repress their things is by holding their breath. I decided that I would work with Reich and go into therapy with him, or he suggested that, and I spent 3 years as a patient. And as a patient, I went 3 times a week, and what I did is I lay on a couch, and all I did was breathe. Oh, well, that's a lot. At least, and you know, surprisingly, things happened to me almost from the moment I began to do this kind of full and free breathing. And I've reported some of this, so I don't need to go into too much into it. First session, for example, just breathing innocently. See? Reich said, open your eyes, Lowen. I went like that and I screamed. It just came out of me. I didn't know where it came from, what it meant, except that I knew I was scared. Because you don't scream if you're not scared. And I didn't feel afraid. I just knew I'm afraid, and I don't know what of. Feelings are not on the conscious level. Sensation is. For example, if I touch you, you have a sensation in my hand, you see? That's not an emotional feeling, it's just a sensation. And you can have sensation. You can be conscious of all kinds of sensations, touch, visions, hearing, smell, etc. Those are all sensations. From the outside, touching the outside, and you become aware of it, see? But what about the deeper aspects of the body? Love, for example. When you're in love, where does that happen? You feel it, but where does it happen? You're talking about a feeling, a real thing that's happening in your body, but not on a conscious level. You can't consciously fall in love. You can't pick a woman and say, I'm going to love that woman. You might say, I'm going to marry her, I'm going to sleep with her. You can't make yourself say, you can say it, but you'll never get the feeling of love. Those things are beyond consciousness. All deep feelings. If you're going to work with feelings, you have to work with the body. Now, you're talking about a movement, an internal movement. That's the feeling. Anger is a wave of energy that goes up through you, and you want to hit somebody, smash them, as a wave. But when it reaches the surface, you recognize it, that's anger. It goes into your eyes, and there you are. Or love, it's the same feeling of reaching out, wanting to hug, a kiss, etc. It comes. That's good. Actually, come on. Do you feel anything in the pelvis? Yeah, well, it's blocked there, that's true. Well, bring your pelvis. Oh. All right, let it go, let it go. Put your body a little straight. Yeah, see, you should hold your body so that you're right over your feet all the time. Don't break it like that. See, that's a break in here the way he has it, see? Look, bend your knee. Come on, come on. Now, that's it. Now, stay like that, for God's sake. Now, this is where you... This... Okay, relax. Come on down with things. This is where a good therapist can help you. See, he sees exactly what you're doing to the blocking, and he can show you what to do to open the block, and then the energy goes through. And now... Okay, what are you feeling? Yeah.
More relaxed, for sure.
All right, now I can't work out all your problems in a demonstration like this. Do you enjoy doing it at times? Yeah.